She will just, I'm so excited for her future, and I think that she is truly my purpose in life, and I just want to give her the most out of life. Hello everyone, it's Sabrina here from Traveling Single Mom, and I have been asked about 4 times in the past 24 hours about Safari schooling and exactly how we work Safari schooling, because as you can see in many of our videos and posts on social media, that she does go to school in every country that we go to. So a lot of people are curious how that works in regards to her records and keeping up with her schooling to make sure that she gets a high school diploma and credit for the time that she goes to school in different countries. So I wanted to explain how I decided to do that. And there are many different ways to school your children. I know many people do unschooling, and there's different requirements in different states regarding where you come from, especially from the USA, if you decide to do unschooling. And there's also homeschooling and different things like that. So I did it a little different than people that I have spoke to. I haven't heard of anybody doing it exactly the same that I'm doing it currently, which is when I decided that we were going to go abroad, which our first location was China. I wanted to make sure that she got a high school diploma from the United States, because I am very pro that piece of paper that says that you have this higher qualification than the next person. That is why I have 3 master's degrees. So I wanted to make sure that she had that piece of paper. She had that option to say, I have a high school diploma and things like that. So what I did was I applied for many different schools for her to be homeschooled, and she actually got denied by 3 or 4 of them before she got approved. And the reason that she got denied was that she was not going to have a location in the state that we were applying for where she was able to, many of them wanted her to come into school once a month or check in, do different activities with the school, things like that, different tests required by the state and things like that, and she was not going to be able to do those because we were going to be out of the country. So a lot of them denied us for the applications, and then some of them had options, international options, where I feel like many people are still with the stigma that if you travel internationally, then you have money. So the international options for some of these schools were very costly, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year. And so I would not be able to afford that. So I couldn't do those options. So finally, I came across a charter homeschool, which is very close to where my mom lives, and I applied for her to go to school there, and she actually got approved. They were at first a little weary about the fact that she was not going to be in the country most of the time, and so the way that I kind of expressed it, which is accurate, is that our home base would be my mom's house. That is where we get mail, that is where we go when we go home, and so that would be our home base, and that we would just be constantly traveling, which is what we are doing. So they finally approved us, and then once I told them that she was going to be going to school in a different country, they weren't sure about that either, because of the fact that in the United States you're not allowed to be enrolled in 2 schools simultaneously. So they weren't sure about that, but they said that as long as we keep in close communication, that it would be great for her. So that is what we did, and the arrangement right now is that we send her information, the worksheets, the notebooks, all of that stuff that she does at the school that she goes to in each individual country. We send that to her teacher at the charter school once a month, as well as we fill out the attendance sheet and all of that, and we send it via email, which is perfect. So that works out very well for us in regards to the United States high school diploma and keeping up with her schooling. So in regards to her going to school in a different country, I can speak on the countries that we've been to thus far, which is China and Mexico. So first, for China, I received a job offer in China at a Korean school. So in most of the schools in China, especially the kindergartens and elementary schools, they allow for your children to go to school free at the school that you're teaching at. So that is what happened in regards to that school. But if that wasn't the case, then it was going to cost a lot of money for her to go to an international school in China. The Korean school that I worked at actually cost 50,000 yuan, which is about a little over $7,000 a year for a child to attend that school. Not to mention, it was 10,000 yuan for all of the different school supplies, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. And I ended up getting them to heavily discount that for me because they wanted me to pay the full price, which is about $1,500 for school supplies and for lunch, which Safari didn't eat lunch anyways because it was traditional Korean food and she is so picky. So those are things to be aware of too in regards to the pricing, because when I signed my contract and I agreed to Safari going to that school, no one ever mentioned to me the 10,000 extra yuan that I would have to pay for the different supplies. So that is something to look into as well as in almost every country in these schools that your child will attend, they have to wear uniforms. So that is also something to be aware of, because you have to pay for the uniforms. Even if you are teaching at the school, they will still make you pay for the uniforms. So Safari was in kindergarten in China, so they didn't have uniforms. They were just starting to kind of create a uniform for the kindergartners, and I didn't end up having to buy that while we were there. So that is China and the expenses. And when I send her to these schools, I'm not necessarily sending her to the school so that she can be educated in the traditional sense like she would be educated in the United States. I am sending her to the school kind of as a form of unschooling. I don't know that I'm fully for or against unschooling. I'm still researching that, but it's a form of unschooling in the sense of I don't want her to go to this school so that she can get the best of math, the best of English or science or any of those subjects. I'm sending her to the school so that she can understand the environment in which the local people, the local children in the country go to school. So in China, she went to an international school, which means that it was more of the richer, wealthier families, and that was only because I taught at that school, so she went to there free. However, Mexico is a little bit different. So I am no longer working in an actual classroom. I only work online, as you can see in my previous video. And so she doesn't get the privilege of going to a fancier school, which I actually like. So when we first came here, I just Googled for what Spanish schools, language schools she can attend. And so she started going to a language school out here for 3 days. And that school was very expensive. And that's what you're going to find if you Google it before you get to the country you're going to. You're going to find these international schools, these language schools that are American money, is what I like to say. Because if anybody charges you based on US dollars, I say they're charging you at least 10 times more than they should. So when she went to that school, I found a elementary school that was a block away from this language school. And get ready for it, it costs $75 a month for her to go to this private school. Whereas the language school that she originally started going to was, I believe it was around $500 a month for her to go to that school. And it wasn't even the same amount of time every day as it is for this elementary school. So I went and applied to the elementary school, and she easily got in, even though she's the only foreign student that they have ever had. It's classified as a bilingual school. They have English classes at this elementary school. However, the English classes are taught by local teachers, so it's not the best quality of English, but it is still a very good school. That is a local school, and that is exactly what I want for her. I want her to go to school with local kids, to be able to understand what they eat for lunch, how they get to school. You see all of these kids walking to school every day. I want her to understand that environment in each country that we go to. So that's very important to me. And the fact that it's so cheap. And I wanted to stress that you are not going to find schools like what I found for Safari. You're not going to find schools like that on Google. it's pretty much impossible unless you know the school name. And even with that, a lot of these schools don't even have websites. They might have the directions on Google, and that's about it. So you have to go and talk to people. You have to go on Facebook, people that have been to different locations. For example, Nicaragua. I was thinking about, we're no longer going to Nicaragua anytime soon, but I was thinking about it previously. And so I started researching it, talking to people on different Facebook groups who live in Nicaragua or have lived there, and asking about different language schools or regular schools, saying that I want her to go to a local school with local children. And I found someone who runs a language school out there who put me in contact with someone who owns a local school out there that my daughter could go to, and she said it was going to be about $20 a month for my daughter to attend this school. So just things like that. For a private school to cost $20 a month, most private schools in the United States don't even cost $20 a day. So it is extremely, extremely lucky, and we are so very blessed to be able to be involved in these different groups and different abroad, just groups, I guess, that give you the opportunity to find these different places. So Safari has friends that know basically zero English at her school, but they're still able to have a great time. She always talks about, oh, my best friend Lucy, and most of these children don't know very much English. So that is the way I choose to school Safari. And she also stays after school at this particular school for 1 hour so they can do her homework with her, because yes, I know Spanish, but they know Spanish a lot better than me, and I think that it's just better for both of us because I'm so quick to anger with homework and things like that with her. It's better that somebody else does that with her. So we have a very good setup going on at this school. And with that, I just take her, all of her notebooks from each subject home once a month at the beginning of the month, and I do screenshots in an app that I have. It's not screenshots, it's actually like scanning documents with the camera on my phone, and I send all the documents, all the pictures of her work to her teacher in the United States, and she gets credit for that month, and it's all good. And we send pictures and videos sometimes. Her school teacher from the United States looks at our YouTube and our Facebook account so they can see what she's doing in regards to kind of like just seeing the world, which is part of social studies, part of schooling in general, you know? Like, she's not reading about China, about the Great Wall in a book. She is going to the Great Wall and seeing this, having this experience, you know? All of these different places that she's able to go to, yet she's still going to get a high school diploma in the United States. And I couldn't be more excited about that. In regards to her future in schooling, I have a very eccentric view on that, especially in modern ages and how I choose to have a career as an online teacher. I will support her in anything she decides to do in regards to a career. So if she wants to go to college and have a traditional type career, I support her. If she wants to be a YouTuber, if she wants to have an online business, I support her. If she wants to go into the military, I completely support her in that. So it just depends on what she wants out of life, and I will fully support her in that. Many parents want to give their children money for school. They save their child's entire life to provide them money for school, and that's what my father did. He saved for me and my sisters to go to college once we got done with high school. However, by the time that we got to college age, the money that he predicted to save for us meant almost nothing because of the inflation of college, and every year it gets so much more expensive in the United States. What he saved for us, I don't even think it paid for an entire year of college, and that is not his fault. It's inflation. It's how the economy is running. And so instead of doing that, because of what happened when my parents did that, I decided that I'm not going to save for her college. I'm going to give her the best of experiences through life, through going all around the world and exploring countries, through going to a Korean school, living in China, living in Mexico, Dominican Republic, all countries in Africa. These are very near places that we are going to in the very near future, you know, and she's going to be able to communicate with these people very well. And even if she doesn't know Korean, if we come across a person that doesn't speak English and is from Korea, she can go up to that person and be like, "안녕하세요." And granted, she's not going to understand what they say, and they're not going to understand us, but they're going to understand that common courtesy that she has for their country, for their culture, and they're going to be more likely to help us, more likely to attempt to communicate with us better, even with the language barrier. And with that, she's going to have so many more opportunities, a limitless amount of opportunities throughout the world that she can do as a career or as a source of income when she gets old enough. And she will just, I'm so excited for her future, and I think that she is truly my purpose in life, and I just want to give her the most out of life. I just want to give her all this education to make educated decisions on everything she does in life, whether it's where she wants to live when she grows up, if she wants to start a family, where she wants to start a family, what kind of career she wants to do, what kind of religion she wants to follow. I want to give her this education to make those decisions and make them in a smart way. So that is my view on Safari's education, schooling, and exactly how I decide to pursue her education. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in our next video. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I appreciate it. Bye.